discussing from Bhagavad-gītā as it is chapter 1, text 14 to text 19. I'll read the text and the translation and thereafter I'll continue. Text 14. Tada shvetair hayer yukte mahati shandane stithau madhava pandavachaiva divyav shankam pradatmatuhu. Text translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. Text 15. Panchajanyam Rishikesho Devadattam Dhananjayah Paundram Tatmau Mahashankam Bhimakarma Virkodharaha. Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean task, blew his terrific conch shell called Paundra. Text 16 to 18. Ananda Vijayam Raja Kuntiputro Yudhishthiraha Nakula Sahadevascha Sugosha Manipushpakau Kashyascha Parameshwasaha Shikandicha Maharataha Dishtadyumno Viratascha Satyakischa Parajitaha Drupado Draupadeyascha Sarvasha Prativipate Shobhadrascha Mahabahu Shankam Datmau Pratak Pratak. Translation Srila Prabhupada ki jai. King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakula and Sahadeva blew the Shugosha and Manipushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter, Shikandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyaki, Drupada, the sons of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells. Text number 19. Sagosho Dhartarashtranam Vidayani Vyadarayat Navasya Prithivim Chaiva Tumulo Baya Nunadayan. The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Omakyanti Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Melitam Mena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sakarjatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tamsi Jivam Satvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamsya He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Tinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanushte Devi Padmami Haripriye Panchakalpatarubhesya Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktivedanta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Moham Karvati Vachalam Pankam Lange Digrim Yatkapada Muhammad Shri Gurum Dehatarna Paramanda Madhav Shri Chaitanya Mishwan. Hare Krishna. So welcome you all. As we see here from the 14th sloka onwards, actually the Pandavas and the biggest battle ever that has took place in this place called Kuruksetra, which is still existing, where two groups, the Pandavas and Kauravas, were ready to fight the battle. So before the battle started, this is an introduction. The warriors from all over the world had assembled in this great place, and that's why it lasted for about 18 days, and it was the greatest battle ever fought in the past, and it will always be the greatest because this type of a battle would not take place, where everyone was killed. So we'll go into, except the five Pandavas, everyone were killed. We'll go through the slokas. So in the 14th, it is mentioned as to how Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells. So the point is that these conch shells, we have their respective names, and generally it is said that all the Kshatriyas, they always have their own conch shells, and particularly they have their respective names. We'll understand a little bit from here. Now, the entire Gita is all about bhakti. So we might wonder why conch shells are very important. There are so many topics that are discussed in Bhagavad Gita, but everything is related to Lord Krishna. Even the conch shell is important because it has connection with Krishna. Now, when Krishna and Arjuna blew their respective conch shells, uh, it is mentioned that uh, they sounded their transcendental conch shells. In general, conch shells, first and the foremost, is that everything that is there in this material world that we see emanates from Krishna, whether it's a conch shell or whether it is a bow and arrow or it is a chariot, or even as us, we are all emanations from Krishna only. So everything has got that relationship with Krishna. Some of them may have some more importance. So conch shells in general are considered auspicious and they come in various shapes. These are actually bones of some specific species of fish, but still they are considered auspicious. Just for example, as uh, cow dung and cow urine, uh, the stool and urine of any other species of life is considered very abominable. But in the case of a cow dung and cow urine are considered to be very useful for the. In fact, the Lord is performed abhishekam by these ingredients, which also include milk, cow urine, yogurt, ghee, cow dung, etc. So the Lord is bathed with all these ingredients because they are pure. Even though they are cow dung and cow urine, they are very pure. So these considered similarly the conch shells, though a bone of a species of fish, they are considered to be very auspicious in the service of the Lord. But in these conch shells also, there are some conch shells which are very auspicious and some are considered inauspicious also. But there are different types of conch shells for different types of purposes. For example, it is said that when we perform Abhishekam to the lordships, they use Lakshmi Shanka, which is very rare and which is used for bathing the Lord. Certain conch shells which are tinted or rather broken ones, they are not used, they are considered inauspicious. It is just about the conch shell. So here it is mentioned that victory is always with persons like the sons of Pandu because Lord Krishna is with them. Wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also present because she is the wife of Lord Narayana, who is none other than Krishna also. So wherever Lord is present and Lakshmi Devi is also present. So the victory will always be there by their side. The Sanjaya, in fact, mentions in Bhagavad-gītā chapter 18, the conclusion slokas, it says, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, Yatra Partho Dhanurdaraha, Tatra Strir Shri Vijayo Bhutir, Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. The translation is wherever there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjuna, the supreme archer, there will always certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. That is my opinion. That means where conclusion is wherever Lord Krishna and devotees like Arjuna are present, victory, fortune, everything will be present. So the conch shells, like I mentioned, they are auspicious in general, but the conch shell blown by Krishna and Arjuna were transcendental. So by now we must have heard something about the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And there is something called transcendental, which is beyond these three modes. That is why it is called transcendental. So the conch shell blown by Lord and Arjuna were transcendental in nature. That's not connected to this material world. So besides that, it is said that the chariot on which both the friends were seated had been donated by Agni, the fire god, to Arjuna. And this indicated that this chariot was capable of conquering all the sides wherever it was drawn over the three worlds. So the conch shell was very powerful. In fact, there is passing on bow and arrow of Arjuna also. Then the Agni actually gave the chariot also, which was capable of conquering all sides. It was capable of moving at very high speed. And it could go all over the three worlds. That means in all directions. Text number 15 is mentioned as how Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his conch shell called the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra. So all these are all Pandavas were all great personalities, and these conch shells also had some names, and there were some pastimes related to that. So these conch shells in Mahabharata, the entire Mahabharata central personality was Lord Krishna. So anything that is there is got its relationship to Krishna. And remembrance of Krishna anywhere at any point of time is Vaikuntha, because everything emanates from him, and Krishna is the central personality. So here, these conch shells have a certain name. Krishna's conch shell is known as Panchajanya. So there is a pastime in this. Krishna has many paraphernalia like flute, conch shell, etc. So when he left Vrindavan, he came to Mathura, and he went to a Gurukul, like we have school, college and all. Those days there were Gurukuls. So Krishna and Balaram selected Sandipani Muni's ashram. So they went to the Gurukul and they were trained by Sandipani Muni. And after training, generally they would go back to their homes. So Sandipani Muni also taught them everything like mantras, weaponry, 64 arts, etc. And one art in one day. That's how these were selected. Krishna and Balaram mastered everything just by hearing them once. And when they finished their teachings, they wanted to leave the Gurukul and they wanted to give a Guru Dakshina. So they asked Sandipani Muni. Muni said that his son got drowned in a river. So if they could retrieve them, that was his request. So both of them, Krishna and Arjuna, agreed, and they went to a place called Prabhas, and they petitioned the Lord of the sea called Varunadev, and they pleaded with Varuna to return the son of Sandipani Muni. He replied that the son was taken by a demon called Panchajana, that even Varuna could not defeat. This demon was a very powerful one. So Krishna and Balaram went straight down the sea and killed him. And there was a shell that was covering the demon called Panchajanya. So Panchajana was sent to this material world to fulfill his desire. He had a desire like Jaya and Vijaya in Srimad Bhagavatam, that he had desired to fight with the Lord. So they came from the spiritual world to here. Similarly, Panchajana had some desire and he was sent from the spiritual world to here. Then Krishna went to this demon was killed. Then the hope was that Yamaraj could have this body of, would have this person, Sandipani Muni's son. So Krishna and Balaram went to Yamaraj and they blew this conch shell called Panchajanya. And they asked for Sandipani Muni's son, and they got the son and they returned to spiritual master. And in return, Sandipani blessed them that they will never forget the mantras or arts learned from him. So in any auspicious occasion, we would see that generally, even when there are festivals or before an arati is performed, there is a procedure to blow the conch shell, because conch shell begins with auspiciousness. Similarly, Arjuna's conch shell is named as Devadatta. So when the Pandavas were in exile, Vyasadeva came to see the Pandavas and said, I know that you're all anxious to get back to your kingdom, and in order for that, I will give a mantra and teach it to Arjuna. And when Arjuna learns this mantra, he can go to higher planetary systems and he can approach the Devas to get some celestial weapons, and Arjuna can fight with these celestial weapons in the battlefield. So Arjuna chanted this mantra, and with this, when he went to the higher planet, heavenly planets, and he went very, very fast, and he reached a place called Mandar Mountain. And there were all many residents of higher planets and all. But he still wanted to reach higher. And then as he saw that the heavenly planets were all very, very beautiful by nature itself. So at that time, a Brahmin sage asked Arjuna, what is the purpose of your visit here? And that this place is meant only for those who have not committed any sinful activities. So you cannot come here. Arjuna said, I have come here to meet Indra. And the Brahmana actually revealed himself as Indra. Then Indra asked Arjuna to take a boon. Indra said, I can give the opulence in heaven. But Arjuna asked for celestial weapon, because when you go to heaven, heavenly planets have a higher degree of enjoyment compared to the earthly planets. So instead of asking to stay in heaven for higher pleasure, Arjuna asked for celestial weapons because he wanted to fight the great battle. But Indra said, first you meet Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva. So he went to meet Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva appeared in the guise of a hunter. And many of you might have seen this pastime also in the Mahabharata serial. So Arjuna at that time saw a boar attacking him. So he shot an arrow at the boar, and the hunter also shot an arrow. And this went on, and after they shot, Lord Shiva as the hunter said, it was my prey. I shot first. And Arjuna said that I shot first. So this way there was a conversation going on between them. And it is said that there was a fierce battle between Arjuna and Lord Shiva also. Arjuna did not realize that it was Lord Shiva. So, but all the arrows when they fought, they all fell in the ground. Then the arrows of Arjuna got exhausted, and he didn't have any more arrows. And he thought that these arrows should not have got exhausted because it was given by Agni, and it was given with a boon that whatever arrows Arjuna sends, they will be replenished, but it will never get exhausted. So Arjuna was wondering, and he had tried all the weapons and still he was defeated. And in bewilderment, he was wondering, who is it? It should be a very great personality only. So finally, he realized that it was Lord Shiva, and then he felt guilty, and he started to worship Lord Shiva and offered his obeisances and asked forgiveness. Lord Shiva forgave him and asked him to take a boon. And Lord Shiva gave him something called Pasupati Astra. This was also a great weapon that could be used only against the residents of higher planets. So Lord Shiva also gave these weapons. And as Arjuna was about to descend, the demigods appeared in front of him and gave him several weapons. And Indra said, my chariot and the driver, Matali, will take you to my planet and I will teach you weaponry. So Arjuna went in the chariot, and he went to Indra's palace, and Indra taught him a lot of weaponry. And therefore at that time he was given this conch shell, which was named as Devadatta. That the meaning is that it was given by the Devas, the demigods. Then of course, there are pastimes of the other conch shells. We don't have the time to discuss all these. So similarly, it is said that when we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it is an auspicious indication. So the way we chant should actually have the effect similar to the blowing of the conch shell of auspiciousness. So that means that we should have that purity with which we chant. So every Kshatriya also had his conch shell. Then there are some important points called the Lord is known by different names. One name is Rishikesha. Rishikesha means who is the owner of all the senses. So the living entities are part and parcel, like us, are part and parcel of the Lord. Therefore, the senses of these living entities are also part and parcel of the Lord's senses. So we are all part and parcel of the Lord, and everything that is there in our body, they are all part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. So we have senses, and these senses are part of the Lord's senses. So the Lord is known as Rishikesha. And also another point is that the Lord is situated in the heart of all the living entities as Paramatma. And as Paramatma, he directs the senses of these living entities. But generally, the Lord directs the senses to surrender to the Supreme Lord. And in the case of a pure devotee, he directly controls the senses. So Arjuna was a pure devotee of the Lord. So directly, Arjuna's senses were under the control of the Lord, who was present with him in the chariot. But many times these impersonalists, they cannot understand that the Lord has got a form, he's got a name, etc. So they describe the Lord as impersonal, but the Lord has got a personal form. So in the battlefield of Kuruksetra, the Lord directly controlled the transcendental senses of Arjuna, and thus his name was Rishikesha. And the relationship of the Lord and Arjuna is also devotional service. So you will find everywhere so many topics mentioned in Bhagavad-gītā itself. You might find Ashtanga Yoga, you might find Karma Yoga, etc. But none of these yogas are successful unless and until one understands that Lord Krishna is the supreme enjoyer of all this yoga practices. The reason is that somebody might say Ashtanga Yoga, but Ashtanga Yoga is a process by which one tries to see the four-handed form of Narayana within the heart. But if one does not understand this purpose of Ashtanga Yoga, then that yoga is a failure. It has no meaning at all. Now, similarly, the Lord has got different names according to his different activities. For example, his name is Madhusudana because he killed the demon of the name Madhu. His name is Govinda because he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses. His name is Vasudeva because he appeared as the son of Vasudeva. His name is Devaki Nandana because he accepted Devaki as his mother. His name is Yashoda Nandana because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavana. His name is Partha Sarthi, which is more relevant to Bhagavad Gita because the Lord served as a charioteer for his friend Arjuna, Partha Sarthi. Similarly, his name is Rishikesha because he gave direction to Arjuna in the battlefield of Kuruksetra. So the Lord can never be separated from his devotees, just as the sun and sunshine can never be separated. And also a king can never be separated from his kingdom. So the Lord is always associated with his devotees, and based on his pastimes with these devotees, his names are given. So Arjuna is referred to in these slokas as Dhananjaya because he helped his elder brother Yudhishthira in fetching a lot of wealth, because sacrifices require a lot of wealth. So Arjuna fetched a lot of wealth by defeating all the kings all over the world, and he brought them for the expenditures for these different sacrifices. Similarly, Bhima, is known as Brakodara because Bhima could eat as voraciously as he could perform Herculean tasks. Bhima was very well built in, and he could perform very Herculean tasks, and he killed a great demon called Hidimba. So Bhima, apart from killing the demons, he also could eat a lot. Similarly, the types of conch shells blown by different personalities on the side of Pandavas, beginning with the lords, were all very encouraging to the fighting soldiers. So whenever the Pandavas blew their conch shells or the Lord blew his conch shells, it was giving a lot of inspiration to the soldiers who are fighting on their side. But on the other side, when the Kauravas blew their conch shell, there was no inspiration that came. Because the Lord was also not there on their side, nor the goddess of fortune were there. So wherever the Lord is present, the goddess of fortune is also present. Then we come to the next sloka, 16 to 18, where Sanjaya informs King Dhritarashtra very tactfully that whatever unwise ways of deceiving the sons of Pandu Dhritarashtra adopted were not was good. The signs of these blowing of these Pandavas conch shell already indicated that the Kuru dynasty would be completely vanquished in that great battle. So beginning from the grandfather Bhishma to the grandsons like Abhimanyu and others, including kings from many states, were all supposed to be doomed. This was the indication of the blowing of the conch shell of the Pandavas. So all the plans that the Kauravas made to defeat the Pandavas were a failure. And the reason for the failure of the entire process was due to, as you all know, Dhritarashtra's attachment to his son Duryodhana and his aversion to Pandavas, who were the right heir to the kingdom. The Pandavas were the right heir, but somehow Dhritarashtra was blind not only materially, he couldn't see anything because he was blind, but it is said that Dhritarashtra was also blind spiritually, and so he didn't have that vision, nor did he have the sight of the Lord. So whatever they did, they sent the Pandavas to the forest, and in exile. The Pandavas were kept in a house of wax, and the house was set on fire. But Krishna protected all these Pandavas at all point of time, right from even before the beginning of the battlefield up to the end of the battle. The Pandavas were under Krishna's protection, because they completely took shelter of the Lord. And Dhritarashtra was very, very selfish, and whereas it is said that a leader should be selfless in his dealings. So here, this battle was fought for the pleasure of Krishna, not for any other pleasure. So the conch shells, when they were blown, they became very, very uproarious, in the sense they vibrated both in the sky as well as the earth, and it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. So powerful were the conch shells blown that the sound vibrated to the sky, entered to the sky, and penetrated further. Whereas when the Bhishma and those on the other side of the Duryodhana, they blew the conch shell, there was no heartbreaking for the Pandavas. Whereas when the Pandavas blew their conch shells, it shattered the hearts of the Kauravas. Uh, this is because of the confidence that the Pandavas had in Lord Krishna. The point is that one who takes shelter of the Supreme Lord has nothing to fear in the midst of the greatest calamity. So the Pandavas are always under the shelter of the Lord, and they were protected by the Lord even from beginning to the end of the battle. And also, the conch shells blown by the Pandavas were divine, whereas the conch shells blown by the Kauravas were not divine. And the Pandavas were fearless because they knew that Krishna was always on their side, and Krishna protected them. So they were all fearless. So, like I mentioned, the Pandavas were great devotees of the Lord, and their relationship with Krishna, apart from their being their nephews, of Queen Kunti, they were sons of Queen Kunti, and they were related to Krishna as cousins, but they were always related to Krishna in the process of devotion service. They were all great devotees, like we have our relationship, which are generally selfish in nature, but the Pandavas were 100% pure devotees, and they had no other desire excepting to please Krishna. So it is said that this battle was fought under the instructions of Krishna, and the Kauravas were defeated and killed. And it is said that many leaders, like I mentioned in the beginning, were killed by excepting the five Pandavas, all were killed. And the Lord gave personally protection to the uh, Pandavas, right from beginning to the end. So I will not have time to discuss, but I'll mention a small pastime. After the battle was over, uh, Krishna asked Arjuna to get down from the chariot. Arjuna asked Krishna to get down. This conversation was going between each one telling that the other one to get down. Finally, Arjuna was convinced, and he got down first. And after Arjuna got down, Krishna got down. And the moment Krishna got down from his chariot, the chariot blew into pieces, because whatever arrows that were sent by the Kauravas, they were all in the chariot. But these arrows work on subtle platform also. So arrows did not burst because Krishna was present in that chariot. But as soon as Krishna got down from his chariot, immediately the chariot burst into pieces. The point is that Krishna protected Arjuna even after the battle was over. This because Arjuna was the dearest devotee of the Lord. So with this, I conclude the class for the day. So I don't think we have time for any questions. I can take one question if anybody has got, otherwise I'll take the class as closed.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
I never knew about the conch shell reverberating beyond the sky and the ether and all that, Prabhuji.
Yes.
Today is the first time that I came to know the
There are
difference.
a lot of things as you hear this Bhagavad-gītā and Srimad Bhagavatam, you will learn a lot of things that are how everything is related to Krishna and how they have their significance.
Prabhuji, does it mean that we have to read Mahabharatam also?
You can read Mahabharatam, but you must read authorized Mahabharatam. There are so many translations available, but there is one translation available in ISKCON also, which is authentic.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Because
So with
all these associates of Pandavas, it's difficult to relate to them. All this Kashi, Raja, Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna.
I
Of
understand.
course, Drishtadyumna we'll know, Virata we knows, but
Yes.
Satyaki and all know to. As long as we are with the book, we are okay. But the minute the book is closed, I forget them.
It's okay. It's okay. You must know that Mahabharata, the central personality is Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That conclusion, if you have, that is good.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you very much.
So I'm closing because I have another class to continue.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Thank you all very much. Bhagavad-gītā as it is. Ki Jai. Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare
Only
Krishna.
Yes, Mataji, tell me.
Mahabharata, which author, Prabhuji, which is available in our
Vyasadeva compiled.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Dandavat.
Thank you all. Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat
Thank you
Pranam.
very much.
Thank you very much, Prabhupada. Thank you all.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very
Dandavat.
much. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna devotees, Dandavat Pranams. Hare Krishna, Tirtha Chaitanya Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam.